Okay, today we're going to work on the gas laws and how to manipulate the data that you guys got using the applet. I actually am kind of glad I downloaded this. Is one of my students' work, and I actually kind of downloaded it because there's some simple mistakes, type of mistakes that anybody could make. Things that, because I gave you very little instruction, people did, which actually it's good because now I can show you how to fix them. Alright, the first thing is, you notice how this person here put the title Boyle's Law up here and a space. Now, one of the rules with Excel is Excel hates spaces. All right. Since the tab here says Boyle's Law at the bottom, I'm just going to delete it. I'm going to delete these two rows. That will make it a little bit easier for Boyle's Law to that'll make it easier for the computer to figure out what you want to do. The other thing I'm going to do is, you notice all these spaces here. There's one here. You're going to hit delete. You click on the top column. I'm clicking on letter B in this case. I'm going to hit delete. To C there was a space. Delete. Column D has a space. Delete. Column E has a space. I'm getting rid of all these spaces. Alright, because you really don't want them there. Alright, and it looks like I've gotten all the data in. Yep, good. That's all the data is in one place. Now the other thing you may notice, and again, this is something that in chemistry you're always supposed to do, and I would put the caveat there, you're always supposed to do it, unless of course you're working with Excel, and then you can't. You notice that there's a label in here. Well, the label screws the numbers up because it doesn't know what to do with them. So I'm going to delete the labels on all of these. Oops, one. All right. There we go. So we got rid of all those labels. All right. So now, first thing I want to do, I'm going to make this bold. One of the things I am going to suggest is you make the labels bold. All right. Now, here's the thing. We did nanometers, and the problem with this is that we didn't really actually measure volume here. What we measured was length. So we're going to have to change that to length. Now, what you're going to do here is we want to actually figure out what volume is. Well, I'm kind of the opinion that the whole canister was probably 6 nanometers high and 6 nanometers deep. And then all you were doing was pressing a piston in it, and the measurement there is the measurement of the amount of piston travel. So the actual volume is length times width times height. Well, I decided just kind of automatically, because you can't measure it for some reason, I decided that it looks like it is the piston was, or the canister was 6 nanometers high and 6 nanometers wide. So basically the height and the width would be 6 times 6, and then the length is whatever you measure. So I'm going to type in equals this, which is the length, times 6 times 6. Boom. Alright, so that's the actual volume, alright, in cubic nanometers. And I'm going to drag this number across, and hopefully it's going to work all the way across. There we go. Alright, so this is how we've changed the volume. That's the actual volume. Alright, so now for the last part, and this is actually pretty easy, one thing you may notice though is this individual, when they were doing it, it took them a while to actually figure out what they were supposed to do, which is fine. Alright, because again, I gave kind of limited instructions intentionally. Alright, what I wanted you guys to do is I wanted you guys to kind of like think about this. Okay, what do I have to do? You notice that the temperature actually changed up until this point. Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with all those data points. So now I'm going to select these two rows, and now might have a little bit of a problem figuring out what kind of graph I want. In this version of Excel, there's a little button up here that says Chart Wizard. You might want to put Insert Chart is another way of doing it. I'm not sure how OpenOffice does it. So I go to the Chart Wizard. I think let's try a line graph. Nope, that's not what I want. How about a scatter graph? I think we want to do a scatter graph next. And that actually shows what the graph looks like. Okay, now this is actually kind of a boring graph. All right, and what we're going to do, this one actually doesn't do everything it's supposed to. You notice that there's a couple of oddball points here. Those oddball points probably have to do with the ones where we change the temperature. All right, but you'll notice we have we have the volume is on this side, and then the pressure goes down is up the y-axis, pressure down the y-axis. What you guys are going to do is, in those of you who are doing Boyle's Law who did not put it directly in an Excel spreadsheet, you guys are actually going to copy some information off of the spreadsheet I'm going to give you. All right. So anyway, so here we go. This is the graph. What I'm going to ask people to do is, if your data points don't produce a nice line, you're probably going to have to do more than one. All right, you're going to follow the same steps for each one. In the next video, I'm going to tell you how to take the data off of the Excel spreadsheet and put it over. All right, so we hit finish, and boom, there's your graph. Okay, that doesn't really show you very much. All right, so what I'm going to suggest you do for this one, you may want to use more than 10 data points, which means you may need to use data that comes from somebody else. All right, cool.